Hello, everyone. It's Kathy with Backyard Columbus, and today's episode is about how to attract more birds to your yard, how to make it more bird-friendly. Now, if you happen to be someone who is petrified of birds, I am not talking to you. So I know I will never convince you that birds are okay, and that's okay. I have plenty of other things to try to brainwash you about in future episodes. But if you're okay with birds, then I would love to share some ideas of how to make your yard more attractive to them. So when we moved into our suburban house about, 24 years ago, we had basically just grass and some oak trees. And now oak trees are amazing. They are amazing host plants for butterflies, moths, all kinds of birds love them. So that's great. But as we have added more plants, areas, bushes, trees, feeders, baths, all those sorts of things, then we begin to see more than just European sparrows and robins. So now I've seen all kinds of things, and it's fun. Like, if you're a nature person, look, I'm not a birder, and I have many friends that are birders, so nothing against the birding community, but I don't live and breathe to see birds, okay? But I love just seeing all the different little critters that come to our yard, and once you start to get a glimpse of them, then it's really kind of fun. You know, it just makes you happy. It's just something to be relaxed about, see a little bit of nature. Again, all kinds of studies about how that makes you a happier person. So let's get to it. Whether you have a yard, a patio, a balcony, there are several things that you can do to make your yard more appealing to birds, your area more appealing to birds. So I have a little cheat sheet here that I'm going to use. As a habitat ambassador with the National Wildlife Federation, they provide me with a lot of literature to share, so it makes my podcast episodes a little bit easier if it's something that they've already created an outline for me. So first of all, none of us can live without water. Birds are no exception. So whether it's just a little tray of water, obviously you need to keep that clean, or a bona fide bird bath, or a small little pond with access so they don't drown, like a little branch over it, or a little dock for your birds or something like that. And in the wintertime here in Ohio, obviously the water freezes. So you need to get a little heater so it doesn't freeze over. But creating a little spot for water will go a long way in having your yard or balcony or patio be a little stopover for these flying little critters. Installing native plants. Bird feeders are great, and that's another thing that you can do. Any kind of bird feeder. I will tell you as a little tip, not a professional tip, but I've lived it tip. We have provided in one of our feeders chipped sunflower seeds that we get at a local, like a store that sells birdseed. Anyway, it is amazing. As soon as we started using chipped sunflower seeds, it's been the amount of the variety of birds that we've experienced in our yard has just been amazing. I don't have the actual stats, but it's just been a lot more different varieties of birds, including cute little puffy bluebirds. I just love those things. But native plants are really great because you plant that thing, and if it's a berry-producing plant, which is what we're talking about for birds, then you're feeding them for free. And a great plant for that is an elderberry. There's a few varieties. You can actually keep them hacked down to, let's call it about 10 to 12 feet, so it doesn't have to be take up a huge amount of space, but they are not a little teeny bush. But elderberries, the American elderberry, is a native bush. It produces so many little berries. And look, if you're into making elderberry pie or jam, then good for you. I have not created that kind of time yet, but I just grow it for the birds, and they are beautiful trees to take up, bushy tree things to take up space. American elderberry is a great native plant, so just to throw that in there. But you're feeding the birds for free. You have to buy the seed at the store, but you buy this bush once, and every single year it produces loads of berries for birds. This is a great example. If you didn't know this, a few years ago, there was a bird flu going around, and it was advised for anyone providing water or food, like a community bird feeder, to take those down because they weren't sure, I don't know if they weren't sure how it was getting passed around or what, but they're like, hey, halt that and keep these birds away from each other. What I noticed is that all of the birds that used to go to my feeder were all of a sudden finally utilizing all the berry bushes I have everywhere, like all of my elderberries. We have 3 varieties of elderberry bushes in our yard, and I saw birds like bluebirds that were never using those bushes before because they were being lazy and just going to the feeder. They were actually going to, as nature intended, going to the plant that was providing their food. So that's just, it just saves you money and adds to your landscaping. So eliminating insecticides from your yard is also not only healthy for you, but it is healthy for the birds that will come to your yard. So if you're spraying everything and, overspray, you're just going to get it on all kinds of plants. I'm going to mess this stat up. 90% of what birds feed their young, I'm pretty sure that's very close to accurate, are caterpillars. So this is all part of the food chain. And so as little overall spraying in your yard that you can do, the better off everybody's going to be in your yard, okay? You want ladybugs. You actually want praying mantises. There are beneficial insects in your yard that you want, and birds also eat insects. So as little that you can avoid spraying insecticides, the better off the birds are, okay? So keeping standing dead trees, I don't know that I'm ever going to convince any of you to do that, or me, or my husband, so we'll just skip over that one. Nesting boxes, those are great. We're talking about a birdhouse. So actually, if there's a particular kind of bird that you love, if you love a bluebird, believe it or not, there are specific hole requirements that or I should say hole preferences that bluebirds have, because then a bluebird can get in, other kind of birds can't, but they like a specific size. It doesn't matter right now what it is. You can look that up or talk to the folks at Wild Birds Unlimited or look it up online. But chickadees have specific nesting box preferences, bluebirds, wrens, all that kind of stuff. So if you have a favorite bird that you would like to attract to your yard, get the houses out, I would say, by late February, early March, because they start shopping for real estate in very early spring. Certainly loads of birds find bushes, the wreaths on your front door, all that kind of thing. But, if you can throw in a bird box here and there away from where you're going to want to step or have a table because you don't want bird crap all over anything that you're going to want to use, that would be, nesting boxes are a great thing to have. Food and feeders, there's nothing wrong with that. If you only have a balcony and you're like, I have a decent sized balcony, I'd like to put in a little bird feeder, then that's okay. That's all you have room for. Put some water, put a bird feeder, and that's totally fine. Everybody's got to start somewhere and utilizing the time or the energy or the space that they have. So that's absolutely fine. I will throw this in there that there are an exorbitant number of birds that are killed each year by cats. I do let my cats out with me. I am not a fan of free-roaming cats. So if you are a person that could be convinced to pretty please keep your indoor cat indoors or observe them while they are outside. Look, even your cat in your own backyard is only going to kill so many birds, but your cat wandering the neighborhood, which as a fellow homeowner, I do not appreciate, they're going to kill less birds. Okay, so that's just an added thing. I will add that if you are interested in getting the PDF of this sheet of creating a bird-friendly habitat, drop me a line, email, or hit me up on social media. I am happy to send you any kind of information that I have available to me so that you can have a little checklist. But that's really about it. We'll call it a day at that. Hopefully, food, water, if you have the space, a native bush or tree, and you would just about cover it and limit your pesticides and insecticides always. That's it. I hope you found some value in this. And again, I thank you for listening.